Hello, I'm John Furrier with theCUBE here at our CUBE's New York Stock Exchange studio. Of course, we have our Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street. This is the AWS Marketplace Series where we highlight the leaders making it happen in generative AI. And as the agent economy comes on, we're going to see a lot more content. We'll see a lot more action as people are deploying agents at scale. We got Saket Saurabh here, co-founder and CEO of Nexla. Saket, great to see you again. We've covered you on SiliconANGLE, on theCUBE before. You can't ask for a perfect storm of innovation with Nexla. Congratulations, but people are interested in what you guys are doing now with the AWS Marketplace. You know, they can buy the AI Marketplace there, they can integrate it into the cloud native environments. Take us through what your value proposition is in the AWS Marketplace.
Yeah, so thank you for having me, John. And we have had multiple conversations of how the AI landscape is so much dependent on connecting your applications and your agents to the different enterprise systems. What is happening right now is that everybody's trying to move super fast. And if you are slow moving, if you are taking the time to figure out what to do and plan it over months and build it over months, there is no patience in the market for that. So it's all about getting there out fast. And the partnership we have with AWS and being on the marketplace is very much part of that. Build quickly, get it out to market quickly. So what we are doing there is, our capabilities are available via the AWS Marketplace. Anybody can go click in, sign up for free, use the product, build on it, and go to production very quickly. So I think that it's not just about building software quickly, it's about procuring and going to production fast as well.
Okay. And what is available in the marketplace? Just be specific. When they go to their page, what are they looking at?
Yeah, when you go to the marketplace, Nexla is offering our prompt to pipeline product. It's called Express, and it's allowing people to converse, just like Cursor and Cloud Code have allowed people to build software very easily. We have created a system where you can converse and build your data connections within the enterprise super quickly and bring all that data into your application. So what you're looking at is Express product available in AWS Marketplace. Click and get started on it right away and build to your actual business goals.
I got to say, I really like Express Dev because it really highlights what we're seeing in the marketplace on the CUBE research side. Reg was very popular at the beginning, a couple of years ago. Search, okay, killer app right out of the gate. And then you see coding. The coding value proposition hit the enterprise really well. Enterprises are adopting coding. That's a great value proposition. Yeah, marketing, that's easy too, but coding really was the first work. We saw real productivity. Now agents are coming in as the next level, what I call that coding, level of value creation. Where are you seeing your customers get value from your platform in the marketplace? Can you take us through some of the customer use cases, pressure points, value points, where you're moving the needle?
Yeah, there are two big areas. You're absolutely right. Coding has been a huge success in applying AI. What is happening is it's much easier for people to build applications to their specific job, to their specific function in a given department. One area where we're seeing a lot of success is when you are building these applications in tools like, Lovable and Cloud Code and Cursor. That application has to talk to your underlying systems, your procurement system, if you're in the supply department, or your finance systems or your sales system. So we are providing that connectivity for these applications. So build your applications, but applications are useful to a department only when it interacts with the tools and systems that exist in the enterprise today. So that's one area. And the other big area I would say is that there is so much knowledge and information in documents, videos, and other assets. Those are completely untapped sources as far as data is concerned. And we have done some amazing executions, for example, with our customer TripAdvisor, and we showcased this at NVIDIA GTC very recently, is how do you take videos, which are a great asset in the travel industry, use them as a source of data to understand, a particular destination, combined with your structured data, trips, flights, so on, and create outcomes which have not been possible before.
A lot of people are trying to figure this out. We saw NVIDIA GTC I mean, I've never heard Jensen Huang talk about monetization on a keynote. Usually it's computer science, tokens, Pareto
Yeah.
curves, physical AI. But this year, agents were at the top of the list in terms of activity. And you can see NVIDIA moving up the stack and the robust ecosystem wrapping around that AI infrastructure. This is a huge growth area for companies trying to deploy agents. Tell more about how it all works. You know, what is Express Dev? Explain.
Yeah. So absolutely right. Agents is where the rubber meets the road, and enterprises can actually create real value that is measurable. We have been always looking at like how will AI create true value for enterprises. Consumers side is very easy to understand. So one of the key things that Express is doing is one, making it very approachable. Anybody who knows what they're trying to do can converse with the system. One key way in which agents become effective is that they are able to interact with the enterprise systems. And let me break that down a little bit. And the big challenge here, um, we know something like tribal knowledge. We talk about that in our day-to-day work. People know their work, they understand what they're doing, but that knowledge sits with that person, maybe in a few documents and so on. Agents, when we are trying to bring them to work as a system that can take actions for us and do the work, agents don't have any of that know-how. And that's where context becomes a very important piece. Going through the different systems, taking the data from them, going through the documents, going through a lot of the knowledge sources inside the enterprise, building the context there. All of that is happening in Express. You're telling it conversationally. I'm working with, I'm working on customer renewal. And for that, I need to get data from my sales tool, from my finance tool, from my customer support tool. And when as you converse with Express, is able to connect to those systems, pull that information, get your documents, and actually let you do your day-to-day work. And that's the goal that we are trying to get to.
I love the multi-agent activity going on, and you highlighted earlier, like you got to talk to other systems. We have a demo here I want to bring up, and I want you to walk me through this because I think this was a great illustration. When I saw this demo, I really liked it. So if you don't mind, I'd like you to walk me through what we're looking at here. Let's bring up the demo, and let's, Saket, take us through, in your words, what this means.
So here we are in Express, and we simply prompt the system to say, hey, go connect to my Salesforce, my ServiceNow, and all these systems. As you see, it sort of walks you through that, asks you the questions conversationally, and it's giving you the explanation. What is it doing? How is it doing that? It's giving you the explanation of, hey, I'll take this information and to make it usable, and combine that with your support tool, the sales data and the support data together. This is what I will do. So it's walking you through this whole process, taking user feedback. So there's always a human in the loop. It's giving a very simple workflow for someone to do that, right? And from here, what you see is that now that Express has connected to that, get into Lovable. Your Lovable is a tool to build an application. And here we're saying, hey, Nexla already connected to the data, use the Nexla MCP, and build me a quick dashboard. What is happening with my customers? What's their health? And this is the type of access and ease of use and information at the fingertips that wasn't possible before. It would take a lot of work, and you're seeing that happen in a matter of minutes.
You know, when I see some of the great examples out there, this is a great use case because this actually takes advantage of the coding wave, because the coding wave is going to help code up all the kind of the new connectors. Because with MCP, we're going to see this infrastructure layer, the agentic layer emerge, but it's also coding. I mean, when people see this now, here's what great write up, put it into Lovable, build me an ebook, or do a presentation. But now you're taking it to a presentation layer. You're connecting to a system. The automation takes place. Just scope for the audience what that would mean if I was not in this world, for the old way. Take me through without Nexla. If you didn't have agents, how long would it take? How hard would it be? What would be the grind?
In the old way, some of this is just not possible, and people are manually going through the systems and doing that. Connecting multiple systems and fetching the data from them easily becomes weeks and months of work, to be honest. And what is happening, John, is that in the enterprise, it's not just the top CRMs and tools that we hear and talk about. There are over 40 different CRMs that Nexla, for example, connects to, and there are specific vertical specific CRMs in pharmaceutical, in automotive and other industries, for example. So that's just one example of the breadth that's out in the enterprise. It's thousands of systems that get used across companies, and being able to tap into that, and not just for the biggest systems, but everything. And that is where the difference is. The breadth that is needed for AI adoption is massive. You cannot have your HR team or your procurement team or your finance team adopt AI if AI is not talking to the systems that they are working with day to day. And the before was, I would say, not at all there, to extremely heavy amount of work, which meant that people only touched at the very top of the most important use cases. But there's so much that you could have done if it was possible, and now it is.
It's custom coding with a silo, basically, with not a lot of maintenance and upgrades. The other thing too is that agents bring up the whole work concept again. Back to NVIDIA, he talked about horizontal scale, domain-specific expertise. We've been talking about that in cloud computing. I can remember 2013 we started talking about that on theCUBE with the cloud. Now you're seeing it in AI, and you have to have this idea of teamwork. No one's talking about this second. Agents have to work as a team too. There's teamwork and partnership. So you cross-platform, cross-database, cross-data sets. These agents need to have those connectors. Take us through your vision on this, because I think this is where the rubber meets the road, because if you enable the agents to be good teammates, not just for the humans, of course the humans are driving the agents, but agents will talk to other agents, fleets of agents.
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenge to teamwork, even in humans working together, has been the communication of information. So if you and I are working together, I'm working on something, explain you what I'm doing, and you take some pieces and you work and we collaborate together. Put some agents in the mix, agents actually have even less context and understanding of that, right? So a big part of making all this possible is the context. And the context is basically the understanding of how the business works, what are the processes, what is the data, what do certain things mean, how do the systems interact together, how do we actually get work done. And this is the knowledge layer that becomes extremely critical. So our vision large is basically that the intelligence sits in the context layer. What we are doing here is we are connecting to all the different systems, documents, and pulling knowledge from there into a context layer that we create on a per organization basis, and that starts to mimic and understand the business that you are in. And then the connectors then let you take actions on that as well. So when you want to say that, hey, I would like to have an agent that simplifies my procurement process, and for certain types of things kind of automate the workflow for me, well, you have built the context to understand how you as a company operate that particular department, how you take some decisions, and then you're letting agents with those connections to those systems trigger the workflows, trigger the actions. So I would say context becomes the brain of the whole thing, and the connections to the different enterprise systems are kind of the acting agents, the limbs, if you will, and the whole organism becomes very effective overall as a teammate, and supporting the work that is happening in the org.
That's a great description. I would say context is the precursor to intelligence. You can have all the tokens in the world, but if there's no context, how good could it be? Great point. All right, final question for you. I'm sold. I love this. How do I onboard with AWS Marketplace? Take me through the integration. Is it hard? Is it easy? What are the steps? Is it intuitive? Take me through the onboarding process.
No, so we have worked quite a bit to make it super easy. As simple as going to the marketplace, looking for Nexla Express and getting that activated. So it's minutes to being live. The prompt screen that I showed you, you're on that within a matter of minutes, and you start working with that. And then all you need is bringing in the connections to the different systems that you operate. What we are seeing is a very interesting effect, John. We see a few people coming in, setting up a couple of systems, and they start seeing the value immediately. The underlying product itself within Nexla is highly collaborative. So more people within your team can discover what you are working on, benefit from that. And as they connect more systems in, that knowledge layer gets deeper and deeper. So it's a very easy start. It's usage based, consumption based model. So very low cost to begin with, and as you expand, as you see more value, and as you demonstrate more value, you can acquire more credits and keep growing with that. So everything from getting started to your commercial transaction, the contracting, and all of that is super simplified
Yeah,
here.
great business model. Get in early, get your hands on it, get it in production, get some use cases, show some value, model it out, hit the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
Start with that free trial and a few credits with that, and add it as you.
All right. So, okay, people watching, I'm interested. Who's the ideal target customer for you? Platform teams. I mean, AI has now created a whole nother foundation. Linux Foundation just launched the Agentic AI Foundation, which is going to be, we think, maybe 5x bigger than Cloud Native Foundation with CNCF, which we were there present at creation as well. There's a huge tsunami of people coming in. Are they agentic infrastructure, DevOps like people, or is it like AI developers? Well, who should be using your product?
Yeah, so we are a platform product as it is, providing the necessary connectivity layer for agents. But I would say that the bar to using the product is largely understanding what your outcome you're looking for. So it is it is largely the teams that are building some business application, or what we used to call, John, like these citizen integration teams, citizen engineers, right. So they're building these applications, they're enabling these agents, and I would say the bar has come down quite a bit in terms of who the users are. So the more technical engineering teams get a full-on data operations platform behind the scenes from our system, but we are seeing like marketing ops team or revenue ops team or finance teams coming and actually using the product on their own.
Well, first of all, I see the procurement value with the
Yeah.
marketplace. That's a no-brainer, obvious. Vertical markets are hot right now, and they tend to have domain expertise. So the innovation comes in from the domain side. They're not platform engineers. They're not AI platform. They're not thinking about model sovereignty or open models, choice. How is that going? Can you give an example of how you're bridging kind of that horizontal layer, context engine layer, and then the need for rapid deployment of very vertical applications?
Yeah, I would say that you're absolutely right. A lot of the domain knowledge becomes important. Some of the sectors we have seen that happen are, for example, in the world of insurance. We have seen that, as I mentioned earlier, in the world of travel technology. We're also seeing that in the world of sort of e-commerce technology. So we have sort of account teams, technical support teams, and so on coming in and being able to use the product on their own. I would say in many ways, a big value of the product is that as it builds the context, it understands the intent of what the person is trying to do. So, hey, I'm trying to solve this particular problem. I want to visualize this information together. I want to be able to automate this work that I do every day. So when you describe what you're trying to do, it allows our system to understand what all do we need to connect to, what all needs to be wired together. We do the wiring, and then you're off to your favorite product or tool to take advantage of that.
Saket, thank you so much. I love the connectivity layer, in air quotes, the glue layer, context engine layer, control plane, whatever people call it these days. You got to see the data. You got to get the data in context. That makes the intelligence work. Thank you so much for coming in on this AWS Marketplace series. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, John. I think connectivity is one of the hardest pieces. We have more places to connect to now than before, and the more things you connect to, the smarter the system becomes.
Okay,
well, that's the big unlock.
We're doing our part to make people smarter here by sharing the AWS leaders in the marketplace who are moving the needle, easy procurement, easy to get in, discovery to production. This is what we're seeing. Rapid velocity, speed matters, highly accelerated environment right now to value. It is a race. Everyone kind of knows what's going on, but Saket, thanks again, and thanks for watching.